Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. On the 30th of August, it was Warren Buffett's birthday. The Grand Master Wizard himself had turned 95. He is not the only billionaire in the United States who has reached this remarkable goal of 95, touch wood. Of course, the one who's on top of the table is George Joseph at 103, who's the founder of the insurance giant Mercury General. Then you have Alice Schwartz at 99, William Tisch at 98, Sidney Kimmel at 97, Alan Gear at 96, Archie Red Emerson at 96, and Donald Newhouse at 96, Annette Lear at 95. Of course, at 9, we have George Soros at 95 too. So Warren Buffett and George Soros both at 95, and it is incredible that we have so many billionaires in the United States. And I thought we'll talk about Warren Buffett on this great day of his birthday and pick apart about how come billionaires, what is the secret to longevity being a billionaire? United States has over 36 billionaires who are 90 plus and 150 who are 80 plus. That is just 3.8% compared to the 80 plus and 20% living past the age of 80, which is really some fascinating numbers. So, what is it about being a business person gives you this kind of longevity on?
First and foremost, let's say happy birthday, Warren. And of course, happy birthday also, Soros. It must have been a month or two before. Because these two have made a significant impact in my life. First and foremost, you have to go back to Viktor Frankl. He wrote that book in Search, Man's Search for Meaning. The most important reason why people live long and why people live is because they have a meaning for life. If there is no meaning for life, you will tend to give up. Like the famous psychologist Daniel Kahneman thought he had no more meaning for life. Whereas these guys have zest for life, Buffett still runs the company. He says he'll vacate the CEO post and he'll continue to be chairman and he's going to be around. So that zest for life and that willingness to contribute and to run a business. And he famously said at one time, I'm good at compounding. Let me compound till the last day so that future generations can benefit from that wealth. So there is absolutely a meaning for life. He sees this as a game. He sees this as a purpose he is good at, and he is continuously playing it.
Yeah, because he's quoted of saying this when he named his successor Greg Abel. He said, "I'll still hang around
Yeah,
and be useful occasionally," and that is such a sweet way of saying.
I'm around.
Yeah. And people asked him what is his secret to longevity, and he laughed, saying 2 cans of Coke and McDonald's and Dairy Queen ice cream. Then he said at the time of his birth, Dow was at 240, later dropping by 41 points to 41. But then he said also he warned investors not to panic at over 15% decline in the next 20 years. He says we're going to have a hair curler crash, and that is expected considering where everything is. So he seems very sharp at this age. It's incredible.
Credible because he has a meaning for life. And somebody asked him about this. There was a correction then. He said a 7% is not a correction. So he said a long, big correction is overdue. Only thing we don't know when it will happen. And which Howard Marks, who is now also turned 79, who will join that 80 club
Yes.
next year, will become the 151st
Yes.
member of the club, very famously said when the PBI ratio of the S&P 500 crosses 23, it means that the next 10 years the return is only plus or minus 2%.
Okay. Let's pivot a little bit. Now talking about, billionaires and their age. Aging population and declining birth rates is a big problem in our world currently. In the UK, US, France, Italy,
Even in Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu, yes. And in the Jackson Hole, the central bankers all have been highlighting the risk of aging populations equaling weaker growth, shrinking workforces, and more fiscal strain. So, and also there's a funny, what you call data point which was shared on the Financial Times saying there's a progressive blind spot, that more conservatives are openly worried about this aging decline population, then the left people who are progressive tend to avoid this. And if you see the birth rate, the progressives globally are having a far faster drop in birth rate replacement than the conservatives. Why is this? Why do progressives seem to be avoiding this?
So when you're talking about the great Warren, you have to remember his partner, the great Charlie Munger. The second he talked about, there's a essay in which he talks about 25 biases. The second bias is this bias. People do not believe. People believe what they want to believe, and they don't want to see reality. And I've seen this in front of my eyes.
Yes.
Now he talks about a mother whose son died in a crash, and she always thought he was alive. Money is somewhere else, so she talked about him in the present tense always.
Yes.
Now, similarly, applying the same bias, the progressives do not want to admit big problem. They don't want to admit it's a problem. Luckily for India, you are going to have great migration from the north to the south. While it may create tensions internally, and there is, unless the government does what it is doing, unless the government really goops up, you won't have a secession, and it will smoothen out. Whereas in countries like China, where there was forced
Birth control.
the fall is going to be
It's extremely steep.
extremely steep. The only solution for this is to allow greater migration, and then the population will readjust and rebalance. But if you do not, if you are a xenophobic society, even Japan, one mayor, we did a talk
Yes.
where one particular mayor realized the
Yeah.
problem. If you don't allow new people to come in, you are going to have a big problem. You are going to have a huge problem.
Yeah. So, as an investor looking at this lay of the land, and we are talking about being value investors, and we invest in time horizons of 10 years plus 15 years, these things are very relevant for us as value investors,
See,
aren't they?
the real problems we are now at least 50 years away.
India, that is.
No, even in US is allowing a lot of migrants till now. So you'll
They
have more
were.
Latin America does not have the problem. So you will have more pain will be more Americans will speak Spanish than English.
Well, I would say the trend was there likely maybe a year ago. After
Yeah.
Trump's election and the way he's clamped down.
That's only 2 years, boss. Trump will be replaced by a liberal at some time.
Okay.
So the trend is clear. People want to go to the US. People don't want to go to Japan. So the US has nothing to worry. It's going to get more and more younger population.
More and more Spanish.
More Spanish than any other language. You will see the change, but the Americans are okay because they will allow more migration. They are a country like Reagan said is famous, and Nigger is a conservative. Said that you can be born anywhere and said my country is great because every migrants made America great.
Correct.
So it allow a land of opportunities. It allow migrants in again.
Okay.
The real problem is in fossilized countries like England and Germany and
Yeah.
xenophobic European countries and maybe Japan.
Yeah, because they have a strong resistance against Africans. Because, like, how Latin Americans are ready to come and help the Americans out, the Africans are more than ready to come over the.
So that is what is going to happen. My own feeling is the walls will break and the migrations will start and the population will rebalance.
Okay. But it will be a very painful during
It will be an
tumultuous time, right?
It will be an extremely painful adjustment. It's not going to be pleasant.
Anyway, so this was an interesting point of discussion. Of course, we congratulate Warren for reaching the milestone of 95, and we wish him a long and many more years to be with us and to part wisdom of investing in value investing, especially when times are like this, when markets are uncertain and there's so much of confusion and fear in the market. So thanks for watching with me this video with me and Anand today on Be Rich. We wish you a wonderful Sunday evening. Tomorrow's markets are open and we'll definitely have some market news and maybe some macroeconomic news too. Thanks for being with us today evening on Be Rich, and we wish you a wonderful evening from all of us.
Thank you for supporting Be Rich.